The Red Sox extending Aroldis Chapman was absolutely the right move for the organization.
You are Locked On Red Sox, your daily Boston Red Sox podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Red Sox, your daily Boston Red Sox podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Gabby Maljanian, former ESPN social media associate and current host of the Boston Balling podcast as well. And I'm here to discuss the latest in all things Boston Red Sox, Monday through Friday, straight to your favorite podcast feed. And the best part, it's all free. So make sure you tune in because Locked On is here for you every single day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Football season is around the corner. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your futures bets now. Happy Monday, happy Labor Day. Welcome to the show. Hope you're all enjoying a very nice long weekend full of college football, baseball, and we are officially now in September, which means the last month of the regular season for baseball. Games are going to be very crucial moving forward now. The Red Sox have to win series and cannot be losing series against teams like the Pirates like they did over the weekend. Pretty tough series there. Going to be discussing one of the biggest highlights from that series later on in today's show, as well as the surprising release of Walker Buehler and the biggest topic of the day, the extension of closer Aroldis Chapman. So the Red Sox are really in buckle down mode now. They have to win a lot of games in this last month in order to secure their postseason spot. That playoff race is tight right now, and the Red Sox are right in the thick of it. They still could win their division, not that far behind Toronto. They also still could clinch a wild card spot, but they have to keep their feet on the gas, and they have to have a good month here moving forward. This month is going to be crazy with standings watching and rooting for teams to beat other teams. It's always a fun time of year because of all of that. But the Red Sox, while they're trying to play good baseball right now, they're also trying to focus on their future and what's going to come with the years to come, building blocks, pieces that they are going to need on this roster moving forward in order to have a successful 2026 and beyond. And one of those pieces that they see being part of that 2026 team is closer Aroldis Chapman, as the Red Sox have agreed to a $13.3 million one-year contract for 2026 that includes a 2027 vesting option with Aroldis Chapman. So what does this all mean? Basically, he will be guaranteed $26 million over 2 years if he pitches at least 40 innings next season. Chapman earned his 8th All-Star selection this season, and he gets a $13 million salary next year. If the left-hander reaches 40 innings in 2026, he gets a $13 million salary again in 2027. But if not, he would receive a $300,000 buyout unless both sides accept a mutual option, which would be unlikely at that point. So essentially, it's all dependent on how many innings he throws next year to determine 2027. So hopefully he's able to stay healthy next year and have a really successful season like he did now. And by doing this, the Red Sox are also incorporating the fact that there is a chance he regresses from this year, because he is truly having a career year this year, maybe even arguably the best year of his career, with a career low 1.02 ERA during his 16th major league season and first in Boston. He converted his 27th save in the Red Sox win on Sunday over the Pirates 5-2. So this season is obviously a remarkable year for him, and he's been huge in the closer role for the Red Sox, but it's hard to bank on him having the same type of season next year. Obviously, you hope similar, but if he does regress a little bit, they are leaving room for that to happen, in which case then they wouldn't exercise their option for 2027, and also they're incorporating if he does get hurt or something and isn't able to throw a lot next year, that they're not locked into anything longer term. So it's a very team-friendly deal in regards to, yes, they're paying him a lot of money for next season, but there's also a lot of leeway there that helps the team based on how much he actually pitches next season. Alex Cora said, this guy has been great for us, and not only on the field, what he's done on the field is amazing. After earning his 350th career save this season, the hard-throwing Chapman did say that his goal was to reach 400. He extended his career best hitless streak on Sunday to 15 games, which is the longest in team history and tied for the third longest in the majors since 1901. Toronto's Sergio Santos was the last to go that long in 2013. He has been lights out this year for the Red Sox. Chapman has 76 strikeouts in 53 innings, and he hasn't given up a hit to the past 44 batters that he has faced. He is 59-47 with a 2.52 ERA and 362 saves in his career for the Reds from 2010 to 15, Yankees from 2016 to 2022, Cubs in 2016, Royals in 2023, Rangers in 2023, Pirates in 2024, and now Red Sox in 2025. So he has played for quite a few different teams, and he ranks third in strikeouts by a relief pitcher with 1,322 and 13th on the career saves list in all of baseball. So the biggest thing about Chapman is that he has experience, and he also has experience winning. And that's one of the biggest reasons why bringing him back next year was the right move for the Red Sox. Because for one, it solidifies that you have an actual established closer in that role. Because the Red Sox last closer that they had was Kenley Jansen, who, while he was relatively reliable in certain spots, there was also always a roller coaster when he was pitching, and you didn't really know what version of him you were going to get. The version who didn't have a lot of command and was giving up a lot of base traffic, or the guy who was on point. And both of those versions of Kenley existed when he was in Boston. So now the Red Sox have a guy who's been lights out as the closer. And one of the biggest reasons why they've been able to win as much as they have this year is because they are able to close out close games with him on the mound. And one of the biggest reasons why I like the idea of him being around next year for this Boston Red Sox team is because any veterans that you can have on this roster to surround the young talent with is beneficial. For example, Peyton Tolley, who made his major league debut on Friday night for the Red Sox against the Pirates, was talking to Garrett Crochet a lot. And that is telling because even Garrett Crochet isn't super old and isn't really experienced in his career. He's still so new in his career, but he's a young pitcher who is an ace and could give Tolley some of the recipes for success. Then you add in a guy like Chapman out of the bullpen who balances that out. He could provide that veteran advice to Tolley of how to succeed at the major league level with the challenges that come with it. And Chapman has seen his career hit points where he was struggling. I mean, over the last couple seasons prior to coming to Boston, he wasn't as sharp, and he wasn't even really being used as a closer all the time. He was being used a lot in a setup type of role in the last couple seasons because he wasn't as sharp as he had been in the past. So if you are a guy like Chapman who has had experience with struggle and has had to deal with times where you just don't have your best stuff, you can provide valuable advice to young players who are early on in the stages of their career and haven't hit the point yet where they've really experienced a lot of struggle, and you can work with them on how to get back up from that. So while Chapman has been really beneficial both on and off the field this year for the Boston Red Sox, that could continue next season. So the Red Sox thought process behind extending him was, this is a guy who gave us exactly what we needed and more out of the bullpen this year, because quite frankly, I definitely did not expect him to be this good for the Red Sox pen. I thought he could be a nice, late inning reliever for this Red Sox team, but I didn't expect that he would be the closer and that he'd be able to go out there every single day and have a historic night. I didn't see that coming, and I don't think the Red Sox fully saw that coming either. But he's going out there and pitching lights out. So the Red Sox said, well, why wouldn't we keep a guy like that around? So not only is it beneficial on the field, because like I said, even if he regresses a little bit on the field, they could still throw him in high leverage spots, but maybe not necessarily in the closing role because they have other high leverage arms that they could also utilize. So they could switch roles around and put somebody else in the closing spot if Chapman does regress a little bit to the point where he isn't quite as reliable to be able to be the closer, but he could still be a solid arm who helps balance out the bullpen as a lefty. And that's something that's important to the Red Sox too, because they had a ton of righties in the bullpen. So him being able to be there and balance it out is so important. So lots of good reasons why the Red Sox extended Chapman and why it was a good idea, but primarily him being a veteran with experience winning in the biggest moments is going to be huge and a game changer for this Red Sox team next season, as they still truly are a relatively young team. When you look at this roster and who's on it and where they're at right now, you have a ton of players who are still earlier on in their careers that are trying to find themselves as Major League Baseball players and are really growing into the player that they're going to be, especially with the Red Sox calling up a rookie in Peyton Tolley. You look at a guy like Hunter Dobbins, who's on the IL now for the rest of the season, but he's another young pitcher that the Red Sox have on this team. Lots of young guys who could benefit from the mentorship of a guy like Chapman being around, who's won in the postseason and has put up career numbers this year for Boston. He loves playing in Boston. He loves the atmosphere there. So it's great that the Red Sox will have him next year. So we'll have to see how that goes with him. But coming up, the Red Sox also make another surprising move with another pitcher over the weekend. And I'm going to be discussing that next. Hey, Locked On Red Sox fans, are you still paying full price for gas? Stop leaving money behind. Get real cash back every time you fill up with the free Upside app. Simply download the free Upside app in the App Store or Google Play right now and start earning cash at the pump today. Use my limited time promo code SEASON and get an extra 25 cents back per gallon on your first fill up. You could make up to $300 a year just from buying the gas you already needed. At first, I thought it was too good to be true, but it's totally legit. Real people are getting paid just to make their daily commutes, and you can too. Plus, you can cash out anytime to your bank account, PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Don't let this offer drive on by. Download the free Upside app now using my limited time promo code SEASON for a limited time 25 cent per gallon bonus. That's promo code SEASON. Offers vary by user and location. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions. Sounds like a great deal, right? You might as well take advantage of it today, because I promise you, you will not regret it and it will change your life. Another thing that will change your life is FanDuel. If you are interested in sports betting, whether you've tried it before, have experience with it, FanDuel is the place for you. And especially because the NFL season is almost here, FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5. And if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love FanDuel because it gives you tons of options to bet on lots of different sports, and you can make a lot of money by doing it because you can make parlays that mix and match different sports and teams, and it's great. My husband wins a lot of money on his FanDuel bets, so you can too. So are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. I am telling you, you can win lots of money today if you download the FanDuel app and start playing, because who wouldn't want to win lots of money? The Boston Red Sox are coming off of a win on Sunday against the Pirates, 5-2, a win that they absolutely had to have in order to salvage a series, because they dropped the first two in that series and just could not get swept against this Pirates team. But it was a rough series overall for the Red Sox, and lots of things that they did that made them look flustered and unprepared going into the series. And they came back home after a very successful 7-1 road trip, and they completely crumbled in this series. And that was really disappointing. But one thing that Craig Breslow has shown over the course of his tenure here so far is that he's not afraid to make big moves that benefit the team and make them better in the long run. One of those big moves that he had made was when he traded Rafael Devers midseason and said, you know what? Devers isn't helping this team, and it's for the best that we move on from him for the sake of our future. And he took a lot of heat for it, and he knew he would, but he didn't really care, because he said, look, like, you know, this is best for the Red Sox and the future of this organization. So in that regard, you have a Red Sox team that is now winning games without him, and it makes you wonder, maybe Breslow does know a little bit about what he's doing when it comes to team chemistry and pushing forward. And obviously, Rafael Devers' bat in the Red Sox lineup would be beneficial. Nobody's arguing that. It's just more the overarching theme of where the Red Sox are at now versus where they were earlier on in the season. So when it comes to making big moves like that, it involves hard decisions. And the Red Sox did make a hard decision by releasing veteran pitcher Walker Buehler the other day. And this came as a little bit of a surprise. He was struggling for this Red Sox team this year. He had a 5.45 ERA across 22 starts in 2025 with 84 strikeouts in 112 and a third innings pitched while maintaining a 1.56 whip. So he wasn't putting up really competitive numbers for the Red Sox this year after signing a $21 million contract in the offseason. And going into the season, there were question marks with Walker Buehler. He had a really strong postseason last year for the Dodgers and helped them win the World Series. He actually closed out the World Series last year and posted a 1.80 ERA and 5 postseason starts en route to their 2020 title and a 3.60 ERA last postseason across 4 appearances, including 3 starts. So he does show up in the big moments. And historically, over the last few years, he has shown that he can show up when it matters, when the pressure is on. And so bringing him into Boston was always going to be a bit of a gamble and an experiment that the Red Sox were willing to take. They were spending a lot of money on a guy who maybe had some upside, but also had a lot of downside given his injury history. The fact that he had Tommy John surgery recently and was coming back and, yes, was able to contribute in the postseason to that Dodgers team. But from a longevity standpoint, not really knowing how he was going to be able to perform here with the Boston Red Sox. And he was pitching out of the rotation. Outside of a couple really strong starts, he was never really able to figure it out in the rotation. He was all over the place. His command wasn't always necessarily there. He was getting hit hard. And every 5th day when Walker Buehler was on the mound, the Red Sox offense found themselves having to score lots of runs to win the game because he was unable to be effective. And the problem was that he wasn't really pitching deep into games a lot of the time, really just making it into the 4th or 5th inning for a lot of his starts, which would completely fatigue the bullpen. So the Red Sox kept him around in the rotation for a while and then eventually said, okay, we're moving you to the bullpen. They gave him one last shot in the rotation. He could not have a good outing. So the Red Sox said, we are moving you to the bullpen because we feel that's what's best for the team. So he did throw out of the bullpen, still didn't really pitch well there. He only threw once out of the Red Sox pen. And because that also wasn't a good outing, the Red Sox said, all right, well, do we really have much more of a choice at this point than to let him go? So the Red Sox made the tough decision to release him because they felt like that's what's best for the team. And also simultaneously, because they were calling up rookie starting pitcher Peyton Tolley and feel really confident in his ability to contribute to this team moving forward, they said, well, we don't really need Walker Buehler on this team anymore. Peyton Tolley made his debut for the Red Sox on Friday night. The Red Sox fell 4-2 in this game. It was a legendary pitching matchup because he was going against Paul Skeens, the best pitcher in the game, who, of course, looked very good. He threw 6 innings, giving up 7 hits and 2 runs, but only one of those was earned with 1 walk and 6 strikeouts. He did give up a home run to Roman Anthony. Roman Anthony saying he hit a home run against Paul Skeens is a cool career moment for him. That kid continues to crank, but the Red Sox just could not score runs. And the Pirates have won a lot of games in which Paul Skeens is pitching. At least he always gives them the best opportunity to win because he is their best pitcher. And their record is 60-76 now after this series against the Red Sox. But they are a pretty weak team. And that's because they don't have an offense, really. They can't hit, but they put up a lot of runs against the Red Sox over the weekend, which was very disappointing. But when Skeens pitches, it gives them a better shot. And sure enough, they did win that game. But Peyton Tolley looked fantastic. 5.1 innings pitched, giving up 3 hits and 2 earned runs with 2 walks and 8 strikeouts. talk about a day for the kid. Making your major league debut against the best pitcher in baseball is not easy, but Peyton Tolley took in every moment of it and he shined. The biggest thing with Tolley moving forward that people are going to have to be on the lookout for is his pitch arsenal, because he has a fastball that's very strong and plays in the majors, averages 96 to 97 miles an hour, has great command of that pitch, and that's primarily the pitch that he throws. He also has a changeup that he mixes in there a little bit, but he's going to have to expand on his arsenal a lot more in order to succeed in the majors, because one of the biggest reasons why he was able to be so successful in his debut is because opposing teams hadn't seen him before. So they had to get a feel for him and get a feel for that fastball. And once hitters start to figure out that pitch, he is going to get rocked unless he adds another pitch to his arsenal. So obviously he's young and he can still expand on his arsenal, and that's the focus, but he has now at least been able to get a taste of the majors, and he threw really well in that game. The Red Sox pulled him when they did because he hasn't thrown really more than 75 pitches this year. So the Red Sox pulled him at 84 pitches. He threw 53 of those for strikes. And so he wasn't used to pitching as deeper into games. So that's something also that the Red Sox are going to have to work on with him, is building up that strength and allowing him to pitch deeper into games and build up that stamina and strength to be able to last later on. So those are all things they could work on with Tolley, but he is a hidden gem. He was the Red Sox top pitching prospect. They believe that he has the tools now to succeed in the majors. So because they felt confident in calling him up when they did, because with the fact that Richard Fitz is now on the IL, it created an opportunity for a fifth starter to come in because they had moved Buehler to the pen. So he went up and took that spot on the fifth day, and the Red Sox said, okay, Walker Buehler is not going to make the start. So they released him, which also shows how confident they truly are in Peyton Tolley. But it also came as a bit of a surprise because although Walker Buehler has been struggling this year, having his veteran presence in the clubhouse is so important. And I know I talked about that a lot with Chapman, but it's so true. Walker Buehler has won more than one World Series, and he physically was the one who closed out the World Series last year for the Dodgers. So even if you're not going to use him in high leverage, you could still use him out of the pen in low leverage situations, but his knowledge and expertise could be really beneficial for the young players. And that's why I was so surprised to see this happen, because yes, the writing was on the wall for him to have a lesser role within the Red Sox pitching staff, but I didn't really think a lesser role would mean him getting released straight up altogether. But the thought process could have been, we can't really send him down to AAA, so what else is there really to do? So they ended up releasing him. He probably knew about it and probably knew he was going to get released. But it's definitely a little disappointing because I feel like the Red Sox are going to end up regretting not having him on the postseason roster, just because he is a veteran who can provide a lot of feedback and value and experience to the young players. And now he ended up signing with the Phillies after being released. He agreed to a minor league deal on Sunday and was assigned to AAA Lehigh Valley. He will be eligible to play in the postseason for the Phillies, who are currently leading the National League East and likely will win the division, barring an incredible September surge by the Mets. He would join a Phillies rotation that lost ace Zach Wheeler to season-ending thoracic outlet surgery and is seeing Aaron Nola pitch to a 6.27 ERA. So he has also been struggling. So this is a good opportunity for Buehler to slot himself in and say, I still have it, even though it didn't work out for me in Boston. And Phillies president Dave Dombrowski is really excited to have Buehler because he feels like he can make the team better. So if he shoves in Philly, don't be surprised. He is going to pitch in the postseason for them. And I feel like we're going to see the Walker Buehler from the World Series last year there. So definitely disappointing that he's going to go to another team and probably is going to be super good. But obviously Boston wasn't working out for him, and the Red Sox decided we can't have this anymore. So definitely surprising, because I thought that they would want his valuable experience out of the pen moving forward in the postseason. And if they didn't put him in high leverage spots, it would be fine. But no longer Walker Buehler partnership with the Boston Red Sox. He has been released, and moving forward, now the Red Sox are going to have to bank on the young players to really step up, like Peyton Tolley. And speaking of young players, Jarren Duran did something cool yesterday in the game for the Red Sox. I'm going to be discussing that next. With football back, Prize Picks is the simplest and fastest way to get in on the action. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections, and you can turn your takes into real prizes all in less than 60 seconds. It's quick, easy, and honestly my favorite way to follow along with football. For example, I love checking projections like Josh Allen for more or less than 270 passing yards or Saquon Barkley for more or less than 1 rushing touchdown. And the best part is, even if one of your picks misses, Prize Picks invented the flex play so you can still double your money. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONMLB for $50 in lineups after your first $5 play. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. Prize Picks is very forgiving and allows you to make picks, and even ones that are wrong, you can still make a lot of money. So make sure that you download Prize Picks today and start making your picks, because it's definitely going to win you a lot of money. Also, the Locked On Network needs your help. I have an important request for you. Locked On wants to hear from you. We've put together a survey to learn more about our listeners and make your favorite podcast even better. This is your chance to tell us what you like, what you don't, and answer questions about our advertising. Go to lockedonpodcast.com/survey to get started. Everyone who completes a survey will be entered for a chance to win one of 10 $100 Amazon gift cards. Again, that's lockedonpodcast.com/survey. You can also find the link in the show notes. Thank you for helping us out. This is your voice, your time to tell us what we can do better as a network to make sure you keep coming back to listen to our shows every single day, and making sure it's an enjoyable and personalized experience for you. So make sure you scan the QR code if you are watching this on YouTube. If not, go to lockedonpodcast.com/survey and make sure you fill that out, because it'll be really valuable for us. The Red Sox dropped 2 of 3 against the Pirates at home this weekend, which was incredibly embarrassing. Lost the first game 4-2. I was able to forgive them a little bit for that because Paul Skeens was pitching for the Pirates. Obviously, any team will have a tough time getting some runs on the board against him. But game 2 of the series was completely unacceptable. The Red Sox lost 10-3. They made 2 errors in the game. They themselves had 8 hits in this game to go along with their 3 runs, but the Pirates had 12 hits with 10 runs scored. Not the Red Sox day at all, just a complete blow up. Dustin May pitched in that game and did not have it. He threw 5.1 innings, giving up 8 hits and 7 runs, with 6 of those being earned, with 4 walks and 5 strikeouts. He threw 97 pitches, with 66 of them coming for strikes, and his ERA is now up to a 5.01. Rough day for him again. And outside of his first start in a Red Sox uniform, he has not been performing to the level that the Red Sox were hoping that he would when they traded for him. And I know that by trading for him, they were hoping that the upside that they would get from him, they'd be able to apply more next year. And he was kind of an experimental pitcher that the Red Sox could maybe get a good year out of next year if they continue to work with him. But now it's getting to the point where they have to consider giving him the Walker Buehler treatment and maybe moving him to the bullpen, because he has not been able to show that out of the rotation he has been able to pitch effectively for this Red Sox team. And that has been a huge concern for really everybody involved. And for him, is he going to get back on track or not? Because you almost have to wonder, would he be a good high leverage reliever out of the pen in the postseason? That could be the case. And while they decided not to continue with Walker Buehler, they could continue with Dustin May and say, hey, we want you to be a good 2-inning guy out of the bullpen. That is the best spot for you. And then the problem, though, with that is they have to find somebody else to come up and start. Kyle Harrison certainly is an option. His name is being dropped into conversation anyway about being ready to make his major league debut. So he could be a guy that the Red Sox could consider in this moment of saying, okay, we can have him be the 5th starter on this team, and we can move Dustin May to the pen. So that way, then we're making the most out of everybody. It's definitely something to consider and should be considered, because the Red Sox just completely unraveled with him on the mound on Saturday. and they ended up falling apart and losing 10-3. Definitely not an ideal game at all for this Boston Red Sox team. Brennan Bernardino also pitched and didn't necessarily have it either. 0.2 innings, giving up 2 hits and 2 earned runs with 2 walks and 1 strikeout. So not his day. Jordan Hicks also came in and pitched 1 inning, giving up 2 hits and 1 earned run with 1 walk and no strikeout. So that was definitely not the Red Sox day. So they went into Sunday having to try to salvage a game in this series, and they did. They ended up winning 5-2 on Sunday. Lucas Giolito was great as always. 6 innings pitched, 3 hits, 1 earned run with 5 walks and 6 strikeouts. He threw 95 pitches with 53 of those going for strikes. And he has been super, super sharp for this Red Sox team ever since being in this rotation this year, because last year he was pitching for the Red Sox technically on their roster, but he wasn't able to actually throw because he was injured. He was recovering from injury, so he wasn't able last season to contribute, but he was technically a pitcher on the roster. So people didn't know how things were going to go with him because it had been a while since he had actually pitched. So people were like, okay, is he going to be able to be effective out of this Red Sox rotation? And certainly this year, effective has been a complete understatement. He has been on an absolutely different level. He's actually at a 5-0 record with an 0.69 ERA and 39.1 innings pitched over his last 6 starts at Fenway. Red Sox pitchers over the last 50 years with a 6-start span at Fenway of 5+ wins and a 0.7 ERA or lower is Lucas Giolito in 2025. Roger Clemens in 1990 and 91, and Louis Tiant in 1975 and 76. I mean, talk about a squad. Lucas Giolito has definitely been one of the biggest surprises in the best way for this Red Sox team this year, and it has been great. So he led the Red Sox to a 5-2 win. But another cool thing that happened in that game is Jarren Duran showing off just how valuable his speed is to this Red Sox team. He hit an electrifying inside the park home run for the Red Sox, and it was super cool. I was at the game, and I had never experienced an inside the park home run in person before, so that was very cool. With 2 on and 2 outs in the bottom of the 5th inning, Duran smashed a line drive headed to the biggest part of the ballpark, the triangle area in right center field, and he just took off. Pirates right fielder Alexander Canario tried to cut it off on the grass before it could reach dirt, but to no success. Center fielder O'Neal Cruz tried to pick it out cleanly from the base of Boston's bullpen wall, only to have it skip by him, and Duran was just off to the races. His 3-run gapper was a thing of beauty, turning a 1-1 tie into a 4-1 edge for the Red Sox. Ended up being really crucial to win that game, and ended up being the difference to snap a 5-game home losing streak. While completing his first career inside the park homer, Duran didn't do so much as slide as he crossed home, even though teammate Carlos Narvaez was instructing him to. He said, Narvi was giving me the slide signal. I was like, this is going to be more of a fall than I slide. Then I saw the catcher set up away from the plate, and I'm like, thank you, I'm standing up. I feel like we've been hitting the ball so hard at people and just lining out, so I just let out a bunch of energy, just seeing we caught a break a little bit there. It was one of those moments that turned a dugout full of baseball players and coaches into fans. Alex Cora said everybody's loud, everybody's sending him, and I'm glad that it worked out. Duran hauled around the base at a sprint speed of 29.3 feet per second, completing his 360-foot journey in 14.71 seconds, which is fastest among the 7 inside the park homers in MLB this season, and it was also the fastest among the 4 inside the park home runs by a Red Sox player in the StatCast era, which has been since 2015. The thing Duran did is one that few people can duplicate. Since the start of the 2024 season, Pete Crow Armstrong, 14.08 seconds, and Corbin Carroll, 14.32 seconds, are the only players who have circled the bases with more speed than Duran just did. And he was just so caught up in the moment as he crossed home, knowing that they're so rare. He said, when you see one, it's almost like that, oh crap moment, this is going to happen. It's such a rarity that it's special for everybody. And starting pitcher Lucas Giolito was in the tunnel under the dugout by the batting cage when the moment of the game took place, and it really fired him up. He said he told himself after that, okay, it's go time now. They don't get anything else. So this was an electrifying moment, and it just shows that while Jarren Duran may be struggling a little bit at the plate this year compared to what we saw from him last year, his speed is always going to be valuable for this Red Sox team. You want a guy like that on the team because you want him to be able to be a base stealing threat every single time he's out there. And while a lot of people, where that ball was hit, it would probably be a triple, with his speed, he was able to come home on it. And it was a full circle moment for him of realizing this is why I'm still super valuable to this team. So you do need the speed of a guy like Jarren Duran on this roster in the postseason because you want him to be a threat on the base paths. And that moment was so cool for him because it showed that he can always turn singles into doubles, doubles into triples, etc. It's the best aspect of his game, and it's one the Red Sox really need on this roster. So a cool moment for him, saved the Red Sox from getting swept. They won 5-2. Hopefully they have a better series upcoming here starting today, because that was embarrassing that they dropped 2 of 3 against the Pirates. Can no longer afford to be losing series against teams like that anymore. So we'll see what happens. But thank you for tuning in to Locked On Red Sox and making it your first listen of every single day. There's also another big moment on Locked On. College football fans, Locked On and Fire TV present College Football Kickoff, your ultimate college football weekly preview. Drake Toll of Locked On Big 12 leads the conversation alongside 2-time AP Coach of the Year, Gary Patterson, former college star Jesse Holley, and Locked On's local experts. A college football preview only Locked On can do. Catch College Football Kickoff every Thursday throughout the season, only on Fire TV. Make sure you check that out next after you tune into this show. And like I always say, keep the faith, go Red Sox, and I'll catch you on the flip side.